And welcome to the first virtual school committee meeting for April 7th, 2020. This time the meeting will come to order. Recommended actions, approval of minutes of public session. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Approval of warrants?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. And approval of transfers?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There was no executive session, so there is nothing to report or vote on at this time. New business. Discussion, update, elementary distance learning, Ms. Danbrook.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the school committee, and Dr. Thornton. I'd like to give you an update on how elementary distance learning is progressing. So as you know, we found ourselves in a challenging situation to reinvent teaching and learning. I'd like to thank all of the teachers, the teacher assistants, the support professionals for their hard work and dedication, because together they were able to overcome so many obstacles that were in their way. So, but the feedback I'm receiving is mostly positive. Surveys were sent to parents, to teachers, and to principals. And at the elementary level, I'd like to give you a couple of examples of some positive feedback from each of those stakeholders and also concern. So for parents, they feel that the distance learning is going well. They feel teachers are very responsive and they're being very flexible. For support, parents would like to see more video classes, because they feel that their children are missing seeing the teacher and seeing their classmates. And they'd also like to have like one checklist so all the assignments are in one place. Teachers, we know, all have different comfort levels. Some teachers are well versed in technology and integrate it regularly. And some teachers use it a little bit and don't feel as comfortable. So some of them asked for support, and Wendy Amelot and her team has set up professional development opportunities last Friday, and they will continue to offer professional development opportunities. Principals feel that teachers are doing amazing work. They are collaborating and supporting each other. But a major concern the principal has is about equity, and we're going to fix that tonight, thanks to Doug. The equity of some students who did not have access to the internet and to online learning. So, and I'm also happy to report there's a 94% attendance rate, which is fabulous. Very happy about that. But there's still challenges we need to overcome. There's still work that needs to be done to support teachers, students, parents. So we will be working as a team to be surveying continuously, ongoing, to get more feedback. I know as every week passes, teachers, students, and parents feel more comfortable with the process. But in addition to thanking the teachers, I also want to thank both directors and the superintendent as well, because their hard work and support has made it as successful as it is. So thank you. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Lynn. Any comments or questions from anyone?
Madam Chair, if I may.
Mr. Testa.
Thank you. Ms. Danberg, I just wanted to thank you. The audio was a little spotty, but I think I was able to get the gist of it. Obviously, this was new uncharted territory for everybody. And I personally thank you and everyone else, from teachers to support staff to administrators, for making this,
Do you have any?
I think, as go as well as it could. And I think we've improved in the second week, and I think we'll improve in the third week. So it's a lot of hard work on everybody's part, and I need to thank them for it.
Thank you, Mr. Testa. I've heard nothing but good from everyone that I've spoken with throughout the district, parents, teachers, aides, etc. People have been absolutely fantastic, and the goal is for people to stay safe and healthy. And I think that elementary is going better than we ever thought. So, Ms. Cobden?
Yes, I want to also thank, like Ms. D'Amber did, all our teachers and staff, administration. The one really nice thing to see is no negative backlash all over the internet. I've seen all positive things. Parents are very happy. Parents are raving about what a good job we're doing. And I've also talked to people that live in places like California and other states and told them what we're doing. And they're really impressed on how well it's going. So kudos to all of you. And thank you to the parents too, and to the students.
Madam Chair.
Nathan, go ahead.
Yeah. I just I also like to thank everyone, because like this is new. Like this hasn't happened before since the Spanish flu, and public education's not what it was back then. It's changed a lot. So it all came out sudden. But I'm pleased to see how everyone kept moving the school district forward, and things were actually very smoothly. And I would like to thank everyone, teachers, school administrators, WISE Union, students, everyone, just for and the parents, everyone for helping out, because this would not have worked if everyone didn't step up to the plate and just try to continue the education for our students.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Adams.
I just want to echo everyone else. I'm not going to get long-winded because I know everyone else has already said what I mean to say, but thank you to everyone for all the work that they put in, because I mean we've seen the emails, like what everyone's doing, and we see all the hard work and the feedback. So thank you for everything you're doing to get us through all this craziness that's going on right now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adams. The second matter of business this evening is the secondary distance learning update from Mr. McCaffrey.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the school committee. I'd like to take a moment to thank Doug Alexander for his support. Also, Wendy Amelot for working with the tech integrationists in developing the secondary plan. As you know, the plan is fluid, as Mr. Testa alluded to earlier. It's getting better every week. We have 4,371 students in the secondary that are receiving an education on a daily basis. We have an attendance rate of approximately 91% at our secondary schools. And our staff, it ranges between 80 to 85% that are also conducting virtual classes live. So I think it's very positive. I'd also like to thank the teachers and the support of the president of the Teachers Union for working collaboratively with us to make sure that we are putting our best foot forward for the students of Warwick.
Thank you, Mr. McCaffrey. Any discussion, comment? I'd like to thank you and just reiterate what I said earlier. I think secondary is going swimmingly. So.
Yeah, Madam Chair, if I may.
Mr. Testa.
I'll echo that, but Mr. McCaffrey, as you know, obviously secondary level is a little bit different because you have kids applying to college, you have AP exams, we have SATs, we have all that stuff. My only thing that I'll say is we need to make sure that we communicate as thoroughly as possible with parents who are concerned about GPAs and scholarships and all that. And I know I sent an email or sent to Dr. Thornton an email earlier this week on that, because they haven't heard much. So there's a big state of limbo, and we just need to make sure that we're pulsing out to parents what's going on. Even if we don't have an answer yet, at least we can tell them, look, we get it, and we're working on it. As soon as we have some clarity, whether it's from the state or whomever, we'll make sure that you're made aware.
Absolutely.
Madam Chair,
There's so much on hold right now with the lack of information about whether we're going to reopen or not. If I had to guess now, I would say probably not going to happen, which is going to make things very sad for our seniors, which makes me sad. And I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, but this is a dangerous time.
Madam Chair,
Phil?
thank you. I'll just echo everyone, truly a team effort, and I would just put the calendar back to say, 4 or 5 years ago, and think about where the district was with tech and where we are now. We are truly positioned well at the K-12 level to do virtual distance learning. So it's really gratifying to see all this come to fruition, seeing where we were and where we are now. And as everyone has said, it's getting better, every day. But really, the work you did, voting in Chromebooks, voting in, bandwidth increases, being in, backbone type tech stuff that people don't always think about. All these things in aggregate made it possible to have us do this right now. So it's really nice to see. Thank you.
Thank you, and I concur with the superintendent. And Doug, I personally am eternally grateful for everything you've done, and thank you. Anyone else? Okay, moving right along. Discussion action, RIDE recommended April calendar. Does everybody have a copy of this or review a copy of this?
If you want, I can take you through it, school committee.
Go ahead.
You have the copy. As you know, the governor put forth the recommended April calendar, but it is recommended you have to actually, take an action to form.
Phil, are you there? Doug, did we lose Phil?
It would seem like we lost Phil, or at least, no, there he's
Oh,
back.
here he
now.
comes. Phil?
How much of that did you miss? All of it?
Most
Almost
of
all
it.
Okay, so once again,
All of
recommended
a sudden,
calendar.
you're cutting out.
from the governor. Hello? How about now?
Yep, we got you.
Okay. Calendar recommended by the governor. As you know, it's recommended, so the school committee really needs to take an action to adopt it as your calendar. Just to summarize, the 3rd and 17th are the PD days, and 9th and 10th are the holidays in April. But once again, it's recommended you as a body must take an action on the calendar.
I recommend passage.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we need to make a motion, or is the recommendation enough?
I move passage.
All right. Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
The
Aye.
ayes have it. Thank you. Discussion of paying Warwick Public Schools collective bargaining employees during the pandemic. Warwick Teachers Union and WISE Union. I would also add to that non-union folks. And I would recommend and move that we pay everyone.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Second. Discussion,
All in
Madam
favor?
Madam Chair, may I
Oh,
just have
any
a question?
discussion?
Yes, I have a question for Mr. Oliver.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Oliver, just a quick question. When this whole thing first hit, and the first thought I had was, okay, the school buildings are closed, maybe we can get a whole bunch of punch list things, annual punch list things done. But I think the social distancing guidelines from the governor kind of make that more difficult. So I have no problem with this. I'm sure there is a lot of work to do. If we can't put 5 people on a particular job, we have to do it with 1 or maybe 2. It'll just take longer, but there's plenty of stuff to get done, correct?
Correct.
Okay, all right. So it's just too bad that we can't really take advantage of the building being closed, but I know based on our buildings and how old they are and what we typically do, that there's plenty of stuff to be done, and it's not as if people are going to be home eating bonbons all day.
Just to let you know, Mr. Tesser, today I rode by one of our buildings and I was pleasantly surprised to see custodian out in front of the building, raking the grounds, making an effort to fill his day with work. It was nice to see.
Yeah, because there are times when in a typical normal course of business, that doesn't get done because it just falls behind because of other projects.
Correct, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just all the buildings were left clean and sanitized. People were coming in. They've all been sent home. People are going out. Ms. Higgins can tell you, but people are going out and making sure that the buildings are safe, that there's no issues or anything, leaks, etc. with the buildings. But right now, with what's going on, I think that personally, I believe that people need to be home, and I've told our administration and our people who handle that that people need to be safe, and that should be number one. Any further comments? Thank you. I move that we continue to pay our employees, administrative, non-union, WTU, and WISE union.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Number 5, discussion action paying Warwick Public School contracted employees during the coronavirus pandemic. Mr. Ferrucci, I'm going to ask you to talk to us about who we are talking about here.
I'll be honest with you, Madam Chair, I'm not really sure. I know we've got some contracts with outside vendors, in particular the transportation, and there's a federal program that's coming into play, but we're going to delay that until we get guidance from the state as to how those funds are to be dispersed and be received. So I'm not sure what specific contract employees might be of interest.
I think if people are going, my thought was if people are going out into the homes or working with kids or families over video or something like that, then of course we'll pay them for services, for contracted services. But I don't think we should be paying anybody else. Well, we have perhaps the lunch workers, but they're working, so of course we're paying them, and we're paying them at a rate of time and a half.
Well, that's the next agenda item. I was thinking the contracted vendors, because they're considered a
Right.
contracted vendor.
Contracted vendors, so,
Contracted employee issue. I'm not aware of one.
okay.
So,
Okay,
Madam
So
Chair,
contracted,
Good.
excuse me, contracted employees were people who have contracts such as non-union, middle management, and admin, but you just lumped them all
Oh, we
into the
covered
very first
everybody.
thing. So
We don't
you're all
think of
set.
them as contract, we think of you as employees, not,
Yeah, so that's where it came from. We had to designate the different differentials between WTUYs and contracted employees. So you've lumped them all into the same, so you're all set.
all right, thank you, Ms. Bonin. Okay, number 7, discussion action. Actually, number 6, discussion action. Paying of Warwick Public Schools contracted vendors during the coronavirus pandemic, including but not limited to transportation. I don't think, I've discussed this at length with Mr. Ferrucci and different people, and RIDE is not recommending that we pay our busing people, and so I'll open this up for comment and discussion. Mr. Testa.
How did you know? Mr. Ferrucci, this would be essentially any contracted vendor except transportation, right?
No, this includes transportation here. Number 6.
Okay. All right, so are we gonna be paying for buses?
Currently, no, unless we schedule buses for doing things like delivering meals or delivering Chromebooks to houses, maybe down the road, instructional materials.
Right.
I did have a conversation with the regional manager. He advised me at the time this first broke that they were laying off their drivers, so their drivers should be collecting unemployment, and they're going to be eligible for the federal piece as well. But we do know that the legislation that was passed at the federal level includes some type of contract continuation funding for specifically bus transportation. They've been advised that when the Department of Rhode Island Education advises us on how funds will become available, then we would have conversations with First Student. There's things in the details of if they're collecting unemployment, why should they be compensated the full, that being First Student, the full hourly wage for a driver when it's not costing that? So there's more to be worked out. We're not paying for services not rendered as of yet.
Okay, good. So that conversation would be a conversation between Warwick Schools and First Student, or would the state be involved in that at all? Because our contract is directly with First Student, right?
That would be between us and First Student. But the state has opted so far, RIDE has opted not to pay them. And the other thing is these people, they're getting unemployment plus the 600, which actually puts many people above what their actual wages would be, which is nice.
Yeah, so
Madam Chair?
transportation is a huge chunk of this too. So, and I have no problem. We're not using buses. We're not using the service. We shouldn't be paying for the service.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
However, if the federal government passes through those funds to the state of Rhode Island, we may get advisories otherwise, but we would then defer that to legal counsel for further review.
Yeah, and we cross that bridge at that time.
That's what my position is, yes. The recommendation is yes.
Madam Chair?
Anyone else?
Madam Chair?
Yes, Superintendent.
Could we just briefly ask our attorney how the contract reads? It's pretty clearly, I believe, how it illustrates whether we pay or not, but I'd like to just have the attorney say a few words if you could.
You just read my mind, Mr. Hennius.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, we've done extensive research in this area for all of our clients. Your particular contract does allow you basically to opt out or to not pay when you're not receiving services, which you're clearly not at this point in time. Under the CARES Act, there is language in there that encourages municipalities and school departments to continue to pay transportation workers with sort of a veiled threat of a lack of or ineligibility for potential federal funds. But we've looked at that. There's all kinds of exceptions that you guys can apply to get out of that. And the bottom line is, as I think someone had said, this is a huge chunk of money that, quite frankly, you folks need to allocate towards services that you're receiving and that kids are receiving, as opposed to services you're not receiving. In addition, as Mr. Ferrucci pointed out, it's my understanding, and he just echoed it, that the bus companies have laid off all the drivers and employees anyway. So the thought of paying the contract while the drivers are laid off, you're not preserving any jobs, and you're essentially taking taxpayer money were you not to do this and just giving it for a student and receiving absolutely no services in return. You're not preserving jobs. You're not doing anything except, in our opinion, you'd be essentially just throwing away taxpayer dollars. Not our recommendation for sure.
Any further comment?
Madam Chair.
Yes, Ms. Conley, Dr. Conley.
Yes, I just want to know, and I'm not sure if this falls into the category. We still have students attending out of district schools. All of the out of district schools are doing distance learning plan. So I don't know if they're considered contracted vendors, but we should continue paying them.
Oh, they will be paid.
Okay,
Absolutely will be paid.
thank you.
You're very welcome.
Bear in mind, RIDE has also, and I forwarded correspondence today. RIDE has made available to all the districts correspondence from their legal counsel saying the exact same thing, that RIDE will not be paying the busing contracts either during the stoppage.
Thank you.
So, Madam Chair, just for a clarification,
Mr.
so the
Cornell.
final thing we're voting on right now, so it doesn't include bus drivers? For what we're
Pardon?
voting on?
No, we're not.
Just
The
going-
buses,
okay.
the bus drivers have been laid off.
Okay.
By the company. They want to be paid, and we're saying at this point, we're not going to pay them. They're not rendering any service. So, all in favor of not paying for transportation and other contracted vendors that would come under that auspices?
Does there need to be a motion?
I think that would be helpful, yes.
I'm sorry, I thought I made a motion. I move that we do not pay the transportation contractors and anyone so aligned until this issue is settled and we have more information to come to a better decision. But at this time, I don't think it's warranted or wise.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it, 5-0. Thank you very much. Number 7, discussion action compensation for additional services during the coronavirus pandemic. Superintendent? Phil?
I think we lost him again.
Lynn?
I don't see Lynn either. Oh,
He's in.
Hey,
Yeah,
Mr.
I'm here.
Ferrucci?
Here.
Who's it? Lynn, can you comment on number 7?
I cannot.
I would say that any services, like I said before, any services that are rendered that have been approved, we should pay for. Anything else should come back to the committee for review. So I would move that compensation for additional services during the coronavirus pandemic shall be paid if they've been authorized, and anything else will come back to the committee for review and approval or denial. What do you think, Mr. Hennies?
that's fine, Madam Chair.
Okay. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Number 8, discussion action, Warwick School Committee resolution requesting RIDE to waive the school attendance reporting requirements for 2019-20. And I think everybody got a copy of this. Does anybody want me to read it into the record? No? Okay, so then I would move approval. This asks the state to waive the attendance reporting requirement. And a few districts have done it. We got this through the Coventry School Department, and I thought it was a wise a wise resolution to sign on to. Is there any discussion? Mr. Hennius, did you want to say anything about this?
No, Madam Chair, I did take a look at it at your request. It's similar to what Coventry had put forward, and certainly well within the committee's power to pass the resolution and send it along.
Second.
Madam Chair, if I will, I have no problem with this. I know there are other states that have done it. I know the state of Maine has, their governor has waived that mandatory requirement. I think it's good. I would wish more school committees would also pass this, because in this situation, no one knows how it's going to end up, but you know, we could conceivably be in July, and then we're going to have people worried about whether you completed your 180 days. And this is an aberration of a year, and I think this resolution just reflects that.
And by state law, we really can't go into July, so it would put us in a real conundrum. I don't know if we could finish the year before the new year, depending on how the state and how RIDE looks at this. So all in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Kathy, I'll send it on to you afterwards.
Can I get your motion and your second? I only got your motion to approve. I didn't get a second.
I seconded it.
Nate, it was Kyle seconded.
Oh, yeah, he seconded, yes.
Okay, thank
Seconded
you.
by Kyle. Did you get that?
I did, thank you.
Oh, okay. Number 9, discussion action, contract award, distance learning program Seesaw. Dr. Conley, Sam-A-Lot. Dr. Conley.
I am going to defer on Miss Sam-A-Lot about this. She knows a little bit more about it than I do.
Okay,
but
Ms. Sam-A-Lot.
For special education.
Is that your bottom left-hand side?
Yes, sorry, the system is configured differently downstairs, so I lost my mouse. So yes, I apologize.
Okay.
Left-handed versus right-handed setup. So so Seesaw is a platform that allows us to communicate with families, especially for our younger students. I was on a call today with worldwide leaders about distance learning, some who have been in distance learning for over 10 weeks at this point in time. And overwhelmingly, Seesaw was a platform that they used in K-4 classrooms to communicate with families. It allows a very safe platform for students' work to be shared. We are currently using this in 5 schools, 2 which were purchased at school committee earlier this year under Denise Bilodeau as the project budget manager. The company opened up 3 more additional schools for us at no cost, thinking that we would potentially be a partner with them. But this opens up an opportunity. Many of our teachers have been connecting with each other and recognize that Seesaw is a very easy platform for them to navigate and share safely with families. And so we are requesting at this time for this to be purchased to support our distance learning now and potentially into the future.
Thank you. I move approval.
Second.
Madam Chair,
Discussion?
Madam Chair, I have a question. Thank you. Ms. Amelot, would we be using this mostly for the elementary grades, right?
Yes, it's actually, we opened it up for Welk as well as all of our elementary schools. So right now, only 5 of our elementary schools have access to this. And the inequity under this time, we really started as a small pilot, just getting used to the platform, never anticipating the need would grow so quickly. However, it did. And now we want to open it up to all of our families at the elementary level, including Welk.
Okay, and I did go on their website today, and I was looking around. They have like a tutorial video and stuff like that, which was pretty cool. I'm not a teacher. I don't pretend to be one. But there were a lot of what I saw was where the students can input their work into the templates. So would that all be done via the Chromebook? So you can put
It can all
pictures
be
and
done via the
video.
Chromebook. It's very safe kind of space. If you think about your social media where people can leave comments and reactions, this is a very safe space for work to be shown in a very without student privacy being sacrificed. And so they can receive comments. Doug, do you want to comment on that as well?
I just want to add that they have signed on to the state data privacy agreement, so they are an approved vendor for us, K-12, as far as student privacy protections.
We have been very cautious as so many vendors are opening up their resources. However, so many are not agreeing to what Doug had said. So I've shared with all of the groups that we meet with how to kind of check those resources, but Seesaw has signed on. Again, I was on a webinar with over 90 countries around the world today, and Seesaw was
awesome.
Remarkably the platform that most districts had chosen at this time to communicate with their elementary families.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we will be going forward with this in all our elementary schools?
Correct, and as Ms. Danberg had mentioned, we were able to, with a very short notice, pull together a professional learning day for our elementary school teachers. We had several library media specialists who I want to just give a shout out to now, who really led the professional development around Seesaw for the 5 elementary schools that currently have it. And we're already in works planning for professional development. It will take about a week to set up, and professional development for the other schools, including Welk, to come on board and use this for the remainder, thinking that, yes, we will be here more than just the original timeline of distance learning. So.
Fantastic, thank you. And thank you to those library media specialists and everybody else who's making this happen. Anyone else? There being no further discussion, I move approval. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you very much. The next issue, number 10, discussion action, contract award, grant, non-public schools, professional development. Dr. Thornton? Ms. Danbrook?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hello?
Hello?
Yes. Essentially, this is a grant-funded request, as you know, through the federal grants, Title II, Title IV, etc. A portion of the grant are allocated for schools in the cities in which they reside, and this is an example of that: St. Peter's, St. Rosa, and St. Kevin's. So you can see it's grant-funded expenses from the PD. So Dr. C is recommending we proceed.
I move approval.
Second.
So moved.
Second. I have one
Any
question,
discussion?
Madam Chair. Yeah, one question.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I don't know if Dr. Thornton or Mr. Ferrucci or whoever. This, if I remember this correctly, this isn't our grant money that we're giving up. This is just, the grant money has to flow, right? It has to flow
Right,
through us.
we're the administrator of that money.
Right, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else?
Can I just add, these are not competitive grants, right? Exactly. There's a difference between competitive grants, and these are
Right.
funds that every student in every district is allocated.
Correct. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hello? Thank you very much. Motion's approved. Number 11, discussion action, contract award, special education evaluation services. Dr. Conley?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This is a request for payment for neuropsych evaluations that were done based on student need.
I move approval.
So
Second.
moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank
Aye.
you very much.
Thank you.
Discussion action, contract award, special education, substitute, OT services. Dr. Conley.
Thank you. So this does actually need to be amended. We are not going to need as much money as we had anticipated. We had an OT that was out on medical leave. Due to distance learning, though, she's actually able to help support her students and has offered to do so. We do have some outstanding bills that were due from earlier in the year that we're taking care of. We did leave a little bit of money behind in the event that schools do reopen this school year, and we do need to contract out for these OT services, but this looks like it will be going more to the good.
Fantastic.
We request your approval.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, just for
I move
clarity-
approval,
Madam Chair, just for clarity,
certainly.
thank you. It's $3,000 is the purchase order that we're going to be issuing, so it's going to be a $17,000 reduction.
That is music to my ears. Thank you. It's been moved. May I have a second?
Second.
Madam Chair, I just had a question. So
Wait,
do we have to-
Mr. Cornell,
do we have to
we're
make a
going,
motion or
Mr.
a
Cornell,
Okay.
Mr. Cornell, they just explained it. I moved it. It's been seconded. Now we open up for discussion.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, do we have to amend because the document's different, or can we just approve knowing that it's altered?
Mr. Ferrucci just told us that it's been amended. I mean, that it's $3,000, and we're approving $3,000 at this point.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion action, contract award maintenance sanitizing supplies, Mr. Oliver.
Good evening. I would like to ask for the approval of for this contract for sanitizing supplies. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I move approval.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Oliver, have we gotten everything that we need? Is there stuff still on back order?
We have quite a bit of material still on back order. It's trickling in a little at a time. Mrs. Higgins has been very, very proactive about staying on top of everything, making sure we're getting everything in that we need to keep the schools safe for the students and staff.
She's doing an amazing job. Any discussion?
I have one, mostly a
Mr.
comment
Testa.
and a question. Thank you. Mr. Oliver, we got 14 stands. Is that like one per building? How are those being?
Well, what's happening is those were purchased a few weeks back. We're trying to get every cafeteria, so when everybody walks into the cafeteria, they can sanitize their hands, and then when they leave, they can sanitize again.
Okay. And I do want to say, I mean, in my business, I do business with Gojo makes Purell. So you can understand that, you know, and we do a lot of business with Purell, and the price you're getting your sanitizer at is not bad, considering the market we're in and the fact that you can actually get it. So I tip my hat to you and Ms. Higgins.
Our vendors are very good to us.
That's excellent. All in favor?
Aye.
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 The ayes have it, 5-0.
Thank you.
Number 14, discussion action, change order superintendent, legal services, Dr. Thornton.
Madam Chair, in your packet, you have a change order request for legal services rendered under the categories of regular legal advice, sex education, and also truancy. So altogether, we are expending more than we budgeted, but these are in fact for service rendered. So I request for approval.
Thank you. I move approval.
Second.
Discussion. Any discussion, questions, anything? Mr. Testa?
Thank you. One question for Mr. Ferrucci. On page 2 of our handout, it looks like there's 2 GL codes that these go to.
That's correct. It's a separation between general education and special education.
Gotcha. Thank you.
The second one being special ed. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Number 15, discussion action change order superintendent program audit.
Madam Chair, also in your packet, this last time I believe had been tabled. As you recall, City Council mandated that the school committee perform an audit, and we have done that. This is the amount that now we have to pay to reconcile the work that's been completed by Barton and Gilman. As you know, we have not yet had Chapter 2, if you will, presented, but this in effect represents the final bill at this point. Request your approval.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion. No discussion?
No.
Okay. We're hoping to get it presented to not only to the committee, but also to the city, to the mayor, to the council, and to, of course, anybody who's interested in the community.
And
Anyone else?
Madam Chair, as you know, they did communicate with me last week, you know, basically saying they're ready, willing, and able to do the phase 2 presentation. Obviously, a bit on hold given everything that's transpiring, but they're ready to go. We just have to figure out how and when you'd like to do it, and then we'll put it together.
I
Thank
have
you,
a
Mr. Henny.
question.
Ms. Cobden?
If I could just add, since I believe this would fit in the same topic, Mr. Ferrucci might know, or Mr. Henias, now that all this is going on and we had deadlines with RIDE to get things in and to the Senate, like to the legislation, are they going to extend that? Has anything been said or done yet on that? Because I thought the deadline, I think if I remember correctly, was in June at some time.
I believe that's a whole nother issue that you're speaking to, Ms. Cobden.
Oh, I thought I could sneak it in on that. Okay.
Yeah, that's.
Mr. Henias, did you have
No,
something?
yeah, this agenda item is just on the program audit that the school committee had authorized prior, correct?
Okay. Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
All in
I
favor?
tried. Aye.
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 Thank you. 5 in favor. Number 17, discussion action, contract award technology, internet access. Whoops, 16, I'm sorry. 16, discussion action, contract award, grant Cedar Hill Chromebooks.
Yes, Madam
Amber.
Chair. Madam Chair, the Cedar Hill, PTO is requesting approval to purchase 100 Chromebooks. They have raised the money through fundraisers throughout the year, and they want to supplement the Chromebooks that currently exist in each of the classrooms.
Thank you. I move approval.
I'll second it.
Discussion. Any discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Testa?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Danbrook, this is fine. And I guess to Dr. Thornton, I would say grants like this for a particular school from its PTO, we need to be conscious of equity issues, right? So you could argue that the 100 Chromebooks purchased through the PTO grant just free up funds for us to buy 100 Chromebooks for other schools, right? And we'd be addressing that equity issue.
Yes, that would be the argument. As we deploy funds going forward, we would not be deploying funds for that one elementary school.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Testa. Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You guys have it 5-0, it's approved. Thank you. Number 17, discussion action, contract award technology, internet access for distance learning, Mr. Alexander.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a request to purchase 20 hotspots, actually to get 20 free hotspots from T-Mobile and purchase the bandwidth for 2 months for families in need. These are the highest quality hotspots I could find, and they are in stock, and they do provide 4G internet service to households that currently are without connectivity, which we've been compiling over the course of the week. And we do have quite a few, less than 100 though. So I think we can cover them with this.
We got another one today. Did you see that, Superintendent?
Yes, he forwarded it to me. Yep.
Oh, good. Okay. Very good. So I move approval.
Second.
I
have
think
a
that this is, you absolutely have to make this available.
I second.
Any discussion?
Discussion.
Mrs. Cobden?
So we actually need these extra hotspots right now, even
Yes,
with
we do.
what, the state has done.
Yes, we do.
Okay, that was my only question. I just know
Okay.
that this put
Some
out a lot
families
of.
don't have internet access and.
I
they need-
understand that, yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
I understand
So-
the services the state provides is not the highest quality either.
okay,
When it comes to the
okay.
kind of streaming services that our kids need with their Chromebooks.
So our kids really aren't using those government hotspots, the ones from the state.
No,
Those who are, I glean that the
Some are.
service is less than optimal.
Okay, I'm sure it is. I just wanted to make sure.
Mr. Testa?
Thank you. So, Mr. Alexander, so, this motion, this issue before us, we're approving $4,000. Would that 4,000 is for 100 and we're only going to get 23? And so in other words, we're leaving it open for future additions if so needed? Or is it 4,000 for 23 hotspots?
Oh, it's 4,000 for 100 hotspots at $20 a month for 2 months of service.
Okay, I thought you started by saying we needed 23, which is fine. I have no problem. I think the district needs to provide this. So I just want to get clarity on the quantity.
I think what your confusion is actually my confusion as well, Mr. Testa, is Mr. Auxiliary, did you say 23? I thought you said that a couple of them or some quantity was free.
They're all free.
Hotspots are
We're
free.
not paying for the hotspots.
Okay, because you had said 20, and that's where I got a little bit confused.
All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Number 18, discussion action, authorized bond funding expenditures, A, B, C, D, and E. Mr. Goffler.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Superintendent, committee members. Hope everybody's well. All I can say is what a difference a year makes. A year ago, we were struggling. Everything was coming in over budget. We had these 5 bids come in. Everyone was under budget. So I'll go through them. First one is bid award bond project ADA abatement project at Howland Elementary. ADA and abatement. It also includes Cedar Hill and Sherman. Our budget was $557,000. The bid came in at $397,000. So that still leaves us with 160 on that one. So I put that forward for approval. It was approved by the building committee, by all the members present unanimously, 6-0.
Thank you, Mr. Gothberg. I move approval.
Second.
Discussion?
Madam Chair, I had a question. It's actually kind of a follow-up of Ms. Cobb's question earlier. It's about the deadlines, because I know the General Assembly has to approve these bonds before they go to the voters, but right now, General Assembly's non-session, and they don't seem to have really any interest going back even electronically anytime soon. So how?
These are bonds that have already been approved, Mr. Cornell.
Oh, yes, sorry, my apologies. Okay, never mind. But it's okay if you can answer on that question still, because I would like to know for our future bond, our next bond. Is that okay if I ask that?
Madam Chair, I'm not going to respond to that, given the agenda.
Yeah, it's not on the agenda, so we can't
Okay.
discuss that. You can call Mr. Ferrucci or Mr. Gothberg
Okay, that's good. Thank
and
you.
have that discussion privately. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Okay, the next bid award was for the ADA and abatement project at Wyman Elementary. Once again, this was approved by the 6 members present at the building committee meeting unanimously. Our budget was 563,400. The bid came in at 502,500. So that's 60,900 to the good. I put that forward for approval.
I move approval.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it, 5-0. Thank you. Next.
All right,
Mr.
the
Gottlieb.
next project is the ADA project at Veterans Middle School. Our budget was $1,045,000. The bid came in at $596,200. That's almost $500,000 to the good. This was approved by the building committee, 6-0, and I put it forward for approval.
I move approval.
Second.
Discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, 5-0. Thank you.
Okay, the next bid award is the abatement project at Hoxie Elementary. This is for the removal of all the asbestos-containing ceiling tiles in the building. Once again, it was approved by the building committee, 6-0. The budget was $258,795. The bid came in at $186,350. That's $72,445 to the good. I put it forward for approval.
I move approval.
Second.
Discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, 5-0. Thank you. Mr. Gothberg.
Okay, one more. This is the bid award for the re-roofing projects at Hoxie and Norwood. These were combined, looking to hopefully get some good pricing because we combined it and more work for one company, hopefully. Our budget was $1,501,645. It was approved by the building committee, 6-0. The bid came in at $835,391, $666,254 to the good. I move it forward for approval.
Well done. I move approval.
Second.
Second. I have a question. Yes, Madam Chair, if I may.
Mr. Testa.
Thank you. I just want to say, Mr. Gothberg, in some, these projects came in about $1.4 million under the original estimate. And you started this off by saying what a difference a year makes. So, and I'm bringing this up because there is a contingent in the public that thinks this is old voodoo. And I think it's clear that we estimate the jobs a while ago. That's when they were estimated, and then they went out to bid. And as you said, the economy has changed dramatically. And that's why we're in at $1.4 million. We're not overestimating these projects to come in low to look good.
What happened on this was after discussion with several of the bidders, their private work disappeared overnight with the COVID-19 issues. So they were scrambling for work, grasping at straws to grab any work to keep their guys busy. And hence, for the first time since I've been here, our numbers are coming in where I believe they should come or under.
Yeah, and I think that'll continue because they want to keep their people employed just like anyone else does.
Correct.
And if they have to make nothing on a job and make very little, they'll do that to keep the operation going. So, this is a silver lining to some extent to what rotten situation that we're in economically. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Testa. Anyone else?
Madam
Mr.
Chair?
Carucci.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to echo what Mr. Testa said, but also go on to say that we've got the projects identified by building. Our commitment over the next 2 years is to sustain those savings for the building. We're going to invest in the building. We do have other projects to do. If those projects come in over budget 2 years from now, when the economy turns around again, we'll have these funds available. So overall, we'll be able to take care of all the projects on time and on budget. If in fact we have funds left over towards the tail end of the 5-year cycle, we will come back before the school committee with some recommendations for other projects within the scope of those buildings, at which point you'll be able to advise us as to how best to invest those savings. So we'll keep you apprised as we move forward, but this is the ebb and flow of the economics of construction. So I want to thank you for your support.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrucci.
Thank you.
Move approval. Oh, we
Second.
did that. So all in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. And our final issue number 19, discussion action, contract awards 1 through 5 on the consent calendar as presented. Mr. Ferrucci.
I think it speaks for itself. If there's a particular item somebody would like to take out of the consent agenda, feel free to pull it out. If not, we're looking for a vote for the whole 5 of them to be approved in one motion. Thank you.
I move approval.
Second.
Yeah.
Discussion?
Madam Chair, I have one question for, I think, Mr. McCaffrey.
Mr. Testa.
Thank you. Mr. McCaffrey, on some of the vendors for CTC, I know when we go out to bid for some services and products, there's a state an MPA list, right? A master purchase agreement, or there's state approved vendors for, is there something similar to that for CTC, or is it all lumped together?
You'd follow the same list. It was one list for the state. You'd follow that list for the master price list.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Oh,
Any
one
other
last thing. I'm sorry.
questions?
One last thing. I just have to put my plug in for Studio 107. That's all. That's all. Just so you guys know what I mean. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Testa. All in favor?
Aye.
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 The ayes have it 5-0. Thank you, everyone. Future meeting agendas and public comment. At this time, I have 2 public comments to read. The first is from Nancy Idaluca from Local 26. She represents the lunch workers. She says, "Dear Chairwoman Bacchus and dear Superintendent Thornton, I want to take this time to say thank you on behalf of the cafeteria staff in Warwick for showing them respect and appreciation during this difficult time. Your K through 12 women and men are leaving the safety of their homes to ensure our children have breakfast and lunch daily. By recognizing their sacrifice and paying them additional pay, you are not only helping them financially, you are also helping them emotionally. That may be the intangible that can't possibly be quantified. Your leadership and proactive approach in caring for all Warwick Public School employees, subcontracted or not, is not only refreshing, but something all Warwickians can be proud of. Thank you, thank you. Warmest regards, Nancy Idaluca, Unite Here, Local 26, Rhode Island Director. The second public comment that I have comes from President Darling Netco of the WTU. Dear members of the school committee, for tonight's meeting, I have comments about a number of agenda items, but will only focus on the following item under new business. Item 4A. I can assure you that members of Warwick Teachers Union have taken virtual learning very seriously. Teachers and support professionals have worked diligently and tirelessly to ensure that students are receiving the best possible instruction during this difficult time. In the Warwick Public Schools, virtual learning has been successful because the members of the Warwick Teachers Union are making it successful. One reason for that success is that Warwick teachers and support professionals had already established relationships with students in their classes, on their caseloads, and in their schools. So when the schools went digital, we were able to continue instruction, even if that instruction cannot replace face-to-face instruction in a school building. Virtual learning is a challenge, and Warwick teachers have risen to that challenge to to ensure that Warwick students continue to receive a quality education during this unprecedented era. Thank you and good luck tonight. I also have a couple of comments, actually one from Mr. Ricks. He wanted to say, all the screens make me think back at the Best Bunch. I think he's talking about the Brady Bunch. He said, we're coming in nice and clear. Hope you're all well. Does anybody else have any public comment? There being none.
I just had a question. Wait, so this is just for other people's public comment, or can we comment?
Pardon? No,
can we
public
make-
comment.
Oh, okay, okay, thank you.
No committee comment.
Okay.
The next scheduled versatile budget meetings will be the summary budget presentation will take place on April 21st at 6 p.m. The director's detailed budget presentation will be Thursday, April 23rd, 2020 at 6 p.m. And the adoption of the superintendent's recommended FY 2021 budget will be held Tuesday, April 28th, 2020 at 6 p.m. There are no additional meetings at this time that I'm aware of. Superintendent?
Madam Chair, just one piece. We may have a need to have a meeting before the 21st, but we'll have to stay tuned on that. We're looking at a couple of items around the state, and they may require the school committee to take action. One being how we grade amidst this virtual situation. There is talk in the state of the grading process being a local decision. And to me, that would require school committee discussion and action if we bring our thoughts to you. Secondly, also senior project, also a school committee policy. If we are to recommend maybe modifications to that, we'd also bring our best thinking to you on that topic. So we had a second meeting at the state level on that topic today. We're talking again this week with our team. And we'll probably have some thinking to share with you sometime next week.
Thank you, Superintendent. Thank you, everyone. You're doing yeoman's work, and it's very much appreciated. Keep up the great work and stay safe. At this time, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.